शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति स्वरूपानुसन्धानं। श्लोक 3। यदानन्दरूपं प्रकाशस्वरूपं निरस्तप्रपञ्चं परिच्छेदहीनम् अहं ब्रह्मवृत्त्यैकगम्यं तुरीयं परं ब्रह्म नित्यन्तदेवाहमस्मि। We have seen the first half of this shloka. Now we have to look into the second half. Aham brahma vrityaikagamyam turiyam. Let us look into the word turiyam. The word Turiyam literally means fourth. Turiyam or Turyam, Chaturtham, all mean same. Fourth. When we look into the literal meaning of this word, people fall into a great confusion. Most often we hear this Turiya state. You have to go to Turiya state. Turiya state is Brahman. Or in the Turiya state you experience Brahman. All these are confusions. In fact, Turiya is not a state. Mandukyopanishad is very clear about it. Turiya is not a state. There are only three states: Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. Waking, dream and deep sleep. Only three states. If Brahman is a state, or if Brahman is experienced in one state, then it is not Brahman. Because Advaita cannot be confined to one state. The infinite cannot be confined to one state. It has to be all pervasive. Therefore, we have to understand the meaning of the word Turiya properly. There are three states. And in each state, you experience each state. You experience waking, you experience a dream, and you experience deep sleep. When you are in waking, You identify yourselves as the waker. Waking state, you are the waker. And Mandukya Upanishad gives a name to this waker. The waker is called Vishwa. Vishwaha. All of us become wakers when we are awake. And then we are Vishwa. Now you are all Vishwa. Then we go to dream. Dream state, Swapna. Then you become the dreamer. The dreamer is called Taijasa. When you are in dream, you are called Taijasa. Then there is deep sleep, Sushupti. When you are in deep sleep, you are called Prajna. So you become Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna, one after another, subsequently. No. The true nature of the Atma, it is neither Vishwa, nor Taijasa, nor Prajna. Because you are a dreamer only for a while. You are a waker only for a while. And you are a Prajna, a deep sleeper, only for a while. Therefore, the status of Vishwa, the status of Taijasa, as well as the status of Prajna, they are incidental. They come and go. If they are incidental, they cannot be your true nature. They cannot be your true self. They cannot be the Atma. Then what is the Atma? It transcends Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna. In fact, it is none of the three. In the meantime, it pervades all the three. Let me give an example. There are three pots. Pot 1, pot 2 and pot 3. Three pots. When I keep these three pots on the table, how many things do you recognize on the table? Pot 1, pot 2, pot 3. Is this all? Or is there anything else? There is something else also. Other than pot 1, pot 2 and pot 3, there is something more. What is it? It is the clay. The clay is something more than pot 1, pot 2 and pot 3. Therefore, you can call it fourth. Turiya. But where is that Turiya? You cannot locate Turiya outside the three pots. You cannot locate the clay outside the three pots, because the clay pervades the three pots. The clay is the substance of the three pots. It is present in and through all the three pots. The same thing applies to Turiya also. Turiya is there in the waker, Turiya is there in the dreamer, and the same Turiya is there in the deep sleeper. But in the meantime, the Turiya transcends the status of waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. It transcends the three states. It is present in and through the three states. In the meantime, it transcends the three states. That is your Atma. That is Brahman. Turiyam. Who is Turiya? You are Turiya. You are neither the waker, nor the dreamer, nor the sleeper. All the problems, the samsara, belongs to the waker, mainly to the waker. Whether it is coronavirus or any problem, it is there in the waking and it bothers the waker. The samsara belongs to the waker. When you identify yourself as the waker, you become samsari. The Upanishad is clear. This waker is incidental. Your waker status is incidental. You are the Turiya, which transcends all the three states. Therefore, you are asamsari, free from samsara. Turiyam. Aham brahma vrityaika gamyam. Gamyam. The word gamyam means something which is reached, something which can be reached, something which can be arrived at. If I have to reach Delhi, Delhi is Gamya, Gantavya. Gamya means Gantavya. Prapyaha ityartha. Prapyam. So, you reach Delhi by walking. or by flight or by train or any other mode of transport. But how to reach Brahman? How to reach Turiya? You cannot reach by flight or train. If there is a distance in terms of space, you can reach by walking or by train or any other mode of transport. But between Brahman and you, there is only one vyavadhana. There is only one distance, and it is avidya. Avidyakrita vyavadhana. The gap caused by avidya, the distance caused by avidya. How to bridge it? There is only one way, jnana. It is not a karma gamya, it is a jnana gamya. Brahman is not a karma gamya, Brahman is a jnana gamya. Karma gamya means arrived at by means of karma, reached by means of karma. You do some action and you reach there. It is not possible with the Brahman. Instead, Brahman is a jnana gamya. Arrived it by means of jnana. And what is this jnana which makes you attain Brahman? Every jnana, every knowledge is a vritti. In Vedanta terminology, we use a word vritti. Vritti is a thought in your mind. It is a modification that happens in your mind. A function that happens in your mind. Every thought is a vritti. Every emotion is a vritti. And so is every cognition. If I know the pot, I have the knowledge of the pot, it is also a vritti called ghatakara vritti. The pot knowledge happens in the form of a vritti. When I see the pot, my eyes are open, my eyes come in contact with the pot, then my mind produces a modification. And the modification corresponds to the pot that is in front of me. It is called ghatakara vritti. And it is nothing but the knowledge of the pot. So every knowledge happens in our mind. There is nothing called a knowledge which is outside the mind. No knowledge can happen outside the mind. Therefore, we should be careful about the people who say you have to make your mind empty. You don't have to make your mind empty, and you should not also. because mind is needed. We have to make use of the mind. We have to make proper use of the mind. Otherwise, knowledge cannot take place. Even Brahmajnana is a vritti in our mind. Therefore, vrityaikagamyam, it has to be known only by means of vritti. Vritti ekagamyam means jnana ekagamyam ityartha. There is no other means than jnana, which is in the form of a vritti in our mind. What kind of vritti? The author says, Aham Brahma Vrityaikagamyam. This vritti is in the form of Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. It is not in the form of Idam Brahma. This is Brahman. It is not so. We understand everything else in the form of Idam. It is called Idamakara vritti. A vritti which recognizes objects in the form of this as an objectifiable entity. This is computer, this is table. We recognize things as objects, as limited objects, different from ourselves. But the Brahmajnana is not so. We don't recognize Brahman as an object outside ourselves. Therefore, if someone claims, I saw Brahman yesterday, it is not Brahmajnana. It is not an object. It is yourself. Aham Brahmasmi. It is recognized as the first person. Not as a third person. There is Brahman elsewhere. It is not so. Aham Brahmasmi iti vrittihi. The Brahman is arrived at by means of this vritti. And how to get this vritti? How to get Aham Brahma vritti? We need a pramana, Vedanta pramana. And that is why Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, all these are needed. So, Aham Brahma Vrityaikagamyam Turiyam Param Brahma Nityam Tadevahamasmi. Shloka 4. Yadajnanato bhati vishwam samastam vinashtancha sadyo yadatma prabodhe manovagatitam vishuddham vimuktam param brahma nityam tadevahamasmi. Yad ajnanato bhati vishwam samastam. the root cause of samsara is ajnana. Ajnana can be translated as ignorance. In Vedanta, we have a deep understanding of ajnana. Even ignorance is deeply understood in Vedanta. If I ask you, what is ignorance? Please tell me, what is ignorance? Just think of it. What is ignorance? Ignorance is not knowing. If you look into the dictionary, let's look into the dictionary. Nowadays everything is there in mobile. Ignorance. Lack of knowledge or information. That is what the dictionary says. Ignorance is lack of knowledge. But that is not how we understand ignorance in Vedanta. Ajnana is not a lack of knowledge. It is not a jnana abhava. Lack of knowledge means a jnana abhava, absence of knowledge. But ajnana is not absence of knowledge. Instead, it is a jnana virodhi. It is something which is opposed to knowledge. Jnana virodhi. We have a lot of discussion on this in Vedanta Shastra. Ajnanam nama jnana virodhi bhavarupam. It is not an absence, it is a presence. Jnana virodhi bhavarupam. It is a presence which is opposed to knowledge. A presence that is opposed to knowledge is called ignorance. That is how we understand ignorance in Vedanta. It will become clear as I explain. The Ajnana blocks the Atma. It is like a veil, like a cover, a positive entity which covers the Atma, which covers the true nature of the Atma. And it has three gunas. Ajnana has three gunas: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The whole universe is a projection of Ajnana. Ajnanato bhati vishwam samastam. The whole universe is a projection of Ajnana. I am just throwing certain things now without explaining too much. The clarity will come as you expose yourself further into Vedanta. How can the universe be a projection of Ajnana. Because the universe is available to all of us. You also see the same thing. Even I see the same thing. All of us are getting the same news. Then how can you say it is a projection of my ignorance? The Vedanta Sara, a text called Vedanta Sara, talks about Samashti Ajnana and Vyashti Ajnana. Samashti Ajnana means a collective ignorance. All our Ajnana put together. I will not use the word ignorance because the word ignorance is not a proper translation, though it is, in effect, it is nothing but ignorance. Samashti Ajnana and Vyashti Ajnana. All our Ajnana put together is called Samashti Ajnana. Vyashti Ajnana means all our individual ignorance. My Ajnana is my Vyashti Ajnana. Your Ajnana is your Vyashti Ajnana. All our Vyashti Ajnana put together is called Samashti Ajnana. The Samashti Ajnana is called Maya. Maya is nothing but Samashti Ajnana. All our Ajnanas put together. And the universe comes into being because of Maya. The Maya projects this universe. Since it is a projection of Samashti Ajnana, all our Ajnanas put together, we are all able to see the universe. It is not just my Ajnana which projects it. Unlike a rope snake, unlike a snake projected on the rope, the snake projected on the rope is my Ajnana. My Ajnana has projected it. But the universe is projected by all our Ajnana put together. That is why it is common for all. Everybody experiences the same universe. But it doesn't end there. After the Samashti Ajnana projects a universe, my Vyashti Ajnana, my individual ignorance, starts working. It projects a Satyatva Buddhi on the universe. It takes the universe for real. The projected universe is taken to be real by my Vyashti Ajnana. I attribute reality to this universe. Satyatva Buddhi. That is where the problem starts. The very appearance of the universe does not create a problem. When I start attributing reality to the universe, the problem starts. Let me explain this with an example. Let's take the example of rope snake. Snake superimposed on a rope. In Sanskrit, the snake is called sarpa and the rope is called rajju. The snake superimposed on the rope is called rajju sarpa. What makes me see the sarpa? Why do I see the sarpa? First of all, I have ignorance of the rope. Rajju Ajnana. Ignorance of the rope. Because of the ignorance of the rope, what happens first? A snake appears. Even when the snake appears, there is no problem. The very appearance of the snake doesn't create problem. There is one more thing happening along with the appearance of the snake. I attribute reality to the snake. I attribute satyatva to the snake. Then the problem starts. I get fear. And sometimes I may think the snake has bitten me. And because of the fear, some people might even die of heart attack. So the problem does not start with the ignorance itself. Because when there is ignorance, just ignorance, there is no problem. In deep sleep, there is ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. Ajnana itself cannot create problem. Then it projects something. The projection itself is also not creating the problem. Then what creates problem? Satyatva buddhi. When I attribute reality, the problem starts. First, I think the universe is real. After attributing reality to the universe, I have so much of subjectivity. I project so many other things. I see the universe as a promising place. The objects will give me happiness. This object will give me happiness. That object will give me happiness. And I go after the universe. And then I get disappointed because it doesn't do what I expect. My expectations are seldom fulfilled. Then there is dejection, disappointment. So what creates the problem? As long as I see the universe as real, there is problem. Therefore, the solution is to remove the Vyashti Ajnana. The Samashti Ajnana makes the universe appear in front of me. But the Vyashti Ajnana, my individual Ajnana, makes me attribute reality to the universe. Therefore, I have to remove my individual Ajnana. I cannot keep correcting the world. The Samashti Ajnana is not going to go. Everybody's Ajnana is going to stay. That is why Vedanta is not a tool to correct others. We cannot keep changing others. Others' minds are not in our hands. It is all Samashti Ajnana. We have to work with the Vyashti Ajnana, our own Ajnana, not with the other man's Ajnana. If we correct ourselves, the world cannot create any problem. Therefore, in Vedanta, our effort is to remove the Vyashti Ajnana, our own individual Ajnana. We have to dispel. Yad Ajnanataha, because of the Ajnana of which reality Yat refers to Brahman. Brahma Ajnanataha. The Ajnana covers the Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is the Vishaya of Ajnana. Vishaya means what the Ajnana covers is its Vishaya. For example, ignorance of pot. Pot is the Vishaya of Ajnana. In this context, Brahman is the Vishaya of Ajnana. So, Yadajnanataha means Brahma Ajnanataha. Because of Brahma Ajnana, Samastam Vishwam Bhati, the whole universe comes into appearance. See the usage of the word Bhati, appears. Pratiyate, it appears. Not that it comes into being. It really doesn't come into being. It just appears. Appears but not real. That is what we call mithya. Asat bhasamanam mithya. It does not exist in reality, but it appears. Yad ajnanataha samastam vishwam, the whole universe, bhati, comes into appearance. Vinashtancha sadyo yad atma prabodhe. Atma prabodhe. When the Atma Jnana takes place, Atma Prabodhe Sati, the Atma Jnana removes your Ajnana, the Vyashti Ajnana. then for you, the universe is as good as gone. Because you stop attributing satyatva to the universe. You stop attributing reality to the universe. A jnani looks upon the universe as a dream, like a long dream, dirgha swapnavat. He doesn't attribute reality to the universe. It will continue to appear even to a jnani, but he does not attribute reality to the universe. That is why the universe doesn't cause any problem. Atma prabodhe sadyo vinashtam. When the jnana takes place, how long does it take for the universe to go? It doesn't take time. As and when you get jnana, your satyatva buddhi goes away. You no longer see the universe as real. Then it is as good as gone. That is moksha. When the Jagat becomes unreal, you are mukta. You don't have to do anything more for getting moksha. Manovagatitam. The Brahman transcends manas and vak, mind and speech. Atitam, not available, not objectifiable. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Taittiriyopanishad. The words cannot objectify Brahman, and the mind cannot objectify Brahman. These are told in the Shruti, told in the Upanishad. Yan manasana manute yenahur manomatam Kenopanishad. What does it mean? The manas cannot reach Brahman. Because Brahman is the one who illumines the mind. The Atma illumines the mind also. Therefore, the mind cannot illumine Atma. The illuminer cannot be illumined by the illumined. The moon gets light from the sun. Can the moon illumine the sun? It is not possible. Likewise, the mind can objectify everything that is outside the mind. But Brahman, the Atma, is the one who witnesses the mind also, who knows the mind also, the drashta of the mind. Therefore, the mind cannot objectify Brahman. Brahman is not mano vishaya, not an object of mind. Therefore, you cannot think of imagining Brahman or visualizing Brahman. There are people who say, I meditate on Nirguna Brahma. I visualize Nirguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma cannot be visualized. If it can be visualized, it is not Nirguna. It will become Saguna. The mind can only visualize something which has guna, which has attributes. You cannot imagine, you cannot visualize, and you cannot experience also. In meditation, I experienced Brahman. If you have experienced, it is not Brahman. Because it is not mano vishaya. It is not the object of mind. Then it is not available for words. Vagatitam. This requires some explanation. We will do in the next session. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.